comes our council people.
We're busy.
I understand. No problem. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. Today is our regular city council meeting. It is August the 22nd of 2024 at 6 p.m. Meetings are available to watch on our YouTube channel. Search for the City of Bruceville-Eddy and click the subscribe button. Please mute your phones and computers to avoid any interference during this meeting. Again, I want to say thank you all for being here. And it's just always good to see people sitting out there so we don't look up here and say, well, how are you today, Mr. Wiggins? Or hello, Mr. Griffin. So we don't have to talk between each other. We can talk to you, listen to y'all and talk. See, we like looking at good faces out in the audience. And you'd think I was running for election this year, but I'm not. It's next year. Just wait till next year. I'll really pour it on. But anyway. And here we go. If y'all would please stand for prayer. Lord God, we want to thank you tonight for all the citizens in Bruceville-Eddy, the ones that are here and the ones that couldn't be here. Lord God, we pray that everybody is well and pain-free. That's all I can ever ask for, is just if they need something, they need to come to you, or, you know, and if you can't help, then maybe we might could do some odds and ends. I don't know what else we could do more than you, Lord. You give us life, you give us our first breath. And we all need to go to you for everything we need. Lord, I want to thank you for our first responders, our police department, our fire department. I want to thank you for all of our city workers that are out there every day in this heat, working every day. And so they are working really hard, and they're trying to keep our city good and maintained. Lord, thank you for our council members and for our city administrator, for our city workers. Because, Lord, it takes, as you know, as the wheel goes around, it takes a lot of people to keep that wheel turned. So again, I just want to say thank you, Lord. Thank you for everything. In the precious name of our Lord and Savior, I pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God and one indivisible. You may have a seat. All right, again, I want to thank everyone that's here. To my left, we have Councilman Wiggins, and we have Councilman McGruer. Got it right that time. And we have our city administrator, Kent Manton. And to my left, we have Councilwoman Joyce McLaughlin. We have Councilman Richard Prater and Councilman Griffin. And in the back, we have Sergeant Martinez with our police department. And we have Johnny with our water department. And we have Pam Combs, our city secretary. And we have Jamie Rodriguez in our water department. And that's it. Okay. All right. Thank you. Community announcements. Do we have any at this time? Any community announcements? Mr. Prater?
Yeah, if we could give a good prayer out for Robin's family. Jason's battling some cancer diagnosis. If we could all give a good prayer out for that family.
Please, yes. Thank you, Mr. Prater. I didn't understand. He wants to have a, you got your mic on, sir? Yeah, he does. The Johnson family?
No. Robbins. Yeah,
family.
Jason Robbins got some cancer news.
Jason Robbins,
He's got a fight on his hands, so.
And he's not doing real
We could
well.
put a
So
prayer
if
out
you'd
for
put
them.
prayers out for him, please. Yeah, Mrs. Yes, ma'am.
Soon. Danielle McGruer, 215 Hungry Hill. Just a reminder that we have our first Friday bingo at Bruceville-Eddy United Methodist Church. Our theme is going to be fall, and our mocktail of the month is going to be sparkling apple cider floats.
Okay, good.
So,
All
thanks.
right, thank you. Any other announcements?
Mayor, I just had a
Yeah,
couple more
okay.
for you. Just as a reminder, City Hall will be closed for Labor Day on September the 2nd. And then also for anybody who've been accumulating a little bit of extra trash, we do have our roll-off scheduled for September the 14th from 8 to 12 p.m.
Okay. Any other announcements? Okay, moving right along. Citizens' presentation. The City Council welcomes public comments at this point on items not specifically listed on the agenda. Speakers must sign up before the meeting begins. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes each. The council cannot respond to the matters not listed on the agenda until a future meeting. And we have one, and that's Darren and Olivia Weaver. Darren?
Evening, Ms. Mayor and Honorable City Council members. Guess what? I'm not here to complain or request anything. All right. So when we started the restaurant Eagles Landing in 2017, we had some missions. One of those was, a couple of those were, let's try to put the resources in and the ideas in to set an example for others to follow. I think that we achieved that. Also to give many of our young people their first job. I told the owners and managers that no one in this town ever starves, so if anybody knows a family or something that needs our help, I certainly have made that available to others already, but certainly approach us. But another thing was to do charitable and good deeds for the community, and we've, of course, tried to do that over the years. In regard to the fire department, which is a volunteer fire department, and let's face it, underfunded, we have, of course, every year given a little money. But since my daughter's come back from Kuwait, Iraq, and Syria and taken over the front of the house, I asked her to find a mechanism that was more formal in donations. The donation boxes were not working. Most restaurant business these days is a 90% credit card business, and so there's just not a lot of cash flowing around. She was able to achieve that through our previous payment processor. We went through another processor about mid-year and had to clean up some accounting things, but I'm here today and pleased to present my daughter, who was able to push the servers and the managers to ask the patrons to donate, and that's partly from the town and partly from the freeway, let's be honest. And it's our pleasure today to present, Ms. Mayor, to you a check for $1,005 to the Bruceville-Eddy Volunteer Fire Department to be used as necessary to support the town. Now, with this new payment processor that we have, it's a different mechanism, but our intention is to continue those efforts each month with the different charitable 403, 401c type organizations, senior center, fire department. And so we appreciate the town's support, and we try to do good where we can, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir, very much. Thank you. God bless. Okay, do we have anybody else signed up to speak? No, not at this time. Okay, thank you. We're moving right along. Number 4, franchise agreement. Encore Electric Delivery Company, LLC, Casey Simpson. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on ordinance 08-22-2024-3, granting an electrical power franchise to Encore Electric Delivery Company, LLC, to construct, maintain, and operate electrical transmission equipment in the city of Bruceville-Eddy, Texas. Sir?
Mayor, thank you. Council, my name is Casey Simpson, Encore Electric Delivery, 308 South 7th, Temple, Texas. So before you guys, y'all have the franchise agreement, the renewal of the franchise agreement. So we respectfully ask you guys to consider and pass that so we can, I think it's 20 years, with a 6 months renewal. That's kind of a new thing from probably your last time that you considered a franchise agreement, but it does have a 6-month renewal until both parties agree to stop that after the 20-year period. But I'd be happy, I know that through Kent and the legal team has worked through questions with our regulatory support and our legal team. So, but if y'all have any questions, I'll try to answer them if they're not too hard.
Okay. All right. I think Kent has a presentation at this moment.
Well, I think Casey already hit a few of those
Oh, he's already
points,
done it all. So
we'll
is
save
there any
some.
questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Prater.
I don't know if this even pertains to this, but before, I think last meeting we had some customers asking if we could get a hold of y'all so that y'all could trim our lines. And we have tried that before. We called y'all and y'all said, no, we'll just wait until something happens and then we'll come out and fix it.
So what I would ask in that regard is if y'all could get with Kent, and then he can forward those to me. I can't promise that we're gonna be able to trim it every time. It just depends on the situation, but there are instances where we have come out and trimmed. We just did one over on the east side of town not long ago, took care of that one, but if y'all would pass that to Ken and he bring that to me, then I would definitely look into it.
I believe Ken Hess called y'all at one time, didn't you? Get a hold of them?
Yes, sir. I checked your inbox. I did submit one a little bit earlier in the week. You might not have had time to check on that one. And then, of course, we had another customer complaining about some issues, and I mentioned that y'all had already set up with a contractor to come trim trees in that general area. So I think the customer was okay just seeing how that worked out, and if there was any issues after the fact, we would get back in touch with them.
Yeah,
I think
well,
one of the two.
yeah, but I mean, like at one time, every time the wind blew, lights was going out on Soul Circle. I mean, literally. I mean, and so one person called me when I called y'all. One person called me and said it was sparking and flaming. And they called y'all, and y'all said, "Well, we're not going to come out and do anything about it until something happens." That was y'all's words to me. So, I mean, if you could do better on that part, I'd really appreciate it.
Certainly will.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of getting left out in the,
So we did just complete a cycle trim. I don't remember exactly when, but I think there's 3 feeders in town, and we did do a cycle trim on one. So we have done some tree, but probably, as everyone can attest to, not near enough.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Understand.
Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
just do better on that part. I appreciate it.
Okay, any other questions or anything that y'all would have for him? Yes, sir.
I live on Franklin Road. John Collins live on south side of Franklin Road. We're 320 Franklin Road. We have that transmission on the south side of my property there. And I can tell you, and I have even spoken to people that were working out there before, right after all, we had problems with the ice mageddon and all that type of stuff went on. You know, and all I got was, well, you know, we're not told to do anything else with that. You wouldn't have to be doing this now if you'd maintained all that and cut down the trees that were falling on the lines. You know, and I think that you should be responsible just for maintaining things and not wait until it breaks down. I think that sounds crazy to wait till that's happened. I think it would cost you less money to maintain things where there wouldn't be things going down. I think that it's usable to leave it like that.
Understand?
Thank you, thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, all right, yes, ma'am.
This has to do with Encore. For about 6 months, we've had a dead tree on the line on our property, and it's making the line go down like that. And Encore refuses to do anything, and it's not funny, but they've had crews out there, they've looked at it, they see it there. They've said they're gonna come back the next day or the next week, it hasn't happened. And the last person that was out there told my sister that, oh, that dead tree's just gonna fall apart bit by bit eventually, so we don't have to worry about getting it off the line. And if you like pictures of it, sir, I know it's not your fault, but I think a lot of the citizens in town see that the way Encore's didn't used to be this way. And now, I believe them that something could be sparking and on fire, and they act like it's no big deal. So this dead tree is probably gonna, if Encore doesn't do anything about it, it's a hazard for one thing. You know, if one of my grandkids ran up and touched that tree or bumped into it, I'm afraid someone's gonna get electrocuted. But if Encore doesn't do something about it and a windstorm comes, when the tree comes down, it's gonna take the line down with it. And then what are we gonna, you know, that can cause all kinds of problems, so, other than that, that's all I have
Okay.
to say. It's frustrating.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am?
I have something on the, we're sisters, we live next door. That tree fell on the line in May, during the storms that were going on in May. Somebody came out and said, somebody will be here tomorrow to take that off the line. Well, nobody came tomorrow. So then, so then we had another tree that fell across our driveway, and we cleared it and
Thank you, ma'am.
And I remember when Encore was never like this.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Mr. McGurr, did you have something?
I remember a few years back where San Diego Gas and Electric was sued by the city of San Diego and a number of residents when they had complained numerous times about trees and things like this hitting the power lines. The power lines actually caused a fire. It swept through a huge portion of San Diego, and it ended up where the citizens ended up paying more for their electricity because they really took a financial hit. So it's something that's of a concern to everybody in the city, not just the people that are living in one particular area. So it's something that I want to impress upon you that we really take this serious.
Sir, thank you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Approximately, what is the 4% of the gross revenues equal to that we're paying Encore?
Oh, yeah, so this is a franchise agreement.
Well, we're getting from them. How much does that equate to?
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. Casey, do you know some of those?
So the franchise payments, I mean,
Most recent one?
the most recent franchise payment was $36,972.77, and that was based on 11,217,467 kilowatt hours.
Yes, sir.
And sir, you have deals with obviously multiple municipalities, right? Same franchise arrangement? Yes? Is that a question? Yeah. I mean, we're not the only town that you have a deal with, right?
Oh, no, all of the incorporated cities that we serve, we typically have a franchise agreement with.
And of all these cities, is 4% the rate, whereas some cities get 3, some cities get 5, some cities get 6?
Yeah, in 2002, when deregulation occurred, there was a rate, there was a calculation that occurred that did the rate based on, it was based on 4% gross revenues at that time. So now it's the factor that we came up with at that point is what's in effect now.
For all the cities that you go?
They're all different factors, but they're based on 4% revenue. Obviously, Temple generates more revenue because there's more people than there, so their factor's a little bit different, but it was all based on 4% gross revenues at the time that the factor was calculated. Now, everything is that factor times the kilowatt hours that are used within the corporate city limits.
Is there any room for negotiation for that percentage to go up?
Probably not. The percentage that's being paid now is actually being litigated in 2006. So there's litigation filed. The Utility Commission didn't agree with that, but they have not come in and told us that we have to rescind that back to the base factor that was calculated in 2002. And that's all written in your franchise agreement as well. So the Utility Commission has say in what and how that factor is calculated.
So what you're saying is 4% is 4%, and the city has no room to negotiate.
That's typically correct.
Something I think y'all should factor in.
Okay. Thank you. All right, thank you. Any other questions? Okay. All right, Mr. Wiggins?
Did we have our attorney look at this?
Yes, sir. Our attorneys went back and forth with their legal team for a few months before we came to this final agreement or ordinance.
And we have a 60-day cancellation clause?
I do not
Is that-
remember about that
Is there
one.
a cancellation clause?
They're by both parties, yes. I think you. provided
Section
notice for
11?
that.
Sir, is that
I-
right?
I can't hear.
Is that right? Section 11, do you have this? Ordinance? That's what you said.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
60 days upon the expiration of it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, with 60 days upon the expiration.
It says the right, privilege, and franchise granted hereby shall expire on June 30th, 2044, provided that unless written notice of cancellation is given by either party hereto to the other not less than 60 days before the expiration of this franchise agreement, it
Okay.
shall automatically be renewed.
All right,
That was the renewal.
60 day.
yes,
That's
sir.
the renewal part of it. If you don't want it to renew, then 60 days prior to the expiration, you would send Encore a letter telling them that you do not want it to
60
renew.
days prior.
Okay, but if we want to just cancel it altogether, you're saying,
Unless, if you don't mind. Okay,
yeah,
if you don't mind.
Yeah, go
The language in it says, unless written notice of cancellation is given by either party. Here to the other, not unless 60 days before expiration. So you have to give them a 60-day notice of intent to terminate.
So I'll try to expound upon this a little bit too. So the current agreement ended in July, so last month. Right now, we're not in a readoption period. This new agreement would be good until 2020 or 2044. And if we want to discontinue it, we have to give them 60-day notice prior to that to get out of to get out of the agreement. Now, it also says on here that if they don't hear from us this next time, they're going to readopt that for an additional 6-month period, which gives us some time to kind of get our bearings and think through how we're going to approach things on the next agreement.
so 3 or 4 months from now, or 6 months or a year, if we're not satisfied, we can give them notice that we want to terminate this agreement? No.
That wouldn't be the case. It'd be a 20-year agreement.
Yeah,
Okay, I just want everybody to understand that. Yeah, that
Okay.
we're locked in here is what my point is. And one thing is, you know, maybe we could think about doing it is adding to this agreement. I don't know if Encore would agree, but it is about them keeping these trees trimmed away from the lines. Maybe we could have something in this ordinance about that.
We could ask our attorneys about that, but really the point of this agreement is to allow Encore to utilize our right-of-ways.
Right.
It's not so much them being granted a charter to operate, their distribution. So I don't know if we would necessarily have the leverage to do so, but we could certainly ask city attorneys if that's something we could do.
I think maybe we ought to ask that question to our attorneys, because it sounds to me like we're having a lot of issues out here with them. Evidently he's not going to be able to solve that right now, but I think if we have something in writing, it would have a little bit more teeth in it.
all right. Yes, ma'am.
20 years seems to be a long time to be locked into 4%. Is there any kind of a increase that's built in over the years as inflation rises and costs go up and things like that? Or we just, as things go up and up and up, they're obviously benefiting because they only have to pay us 4% for the next 20 years?
So the utility commission requires 3%. So 4% was a negotiated amount some years ago. So the utility commission, there's rules there that you would probably have to, and I'm not an attorney and have a real great knowledge of that, but the utility commission sets the minimum franchise or the threshold for the franchise rate at 3%. So they have to approve if a utility wants to go above that. So while you're wanting to negotiate with Encore, Encore's hands are somewhat tied as to what rate that can be. It would have to be approved by the commission as well for it to be any more than what their standard is, which is why there's litigation on the factor that changed in 2006.
Yes, sir, you had a question?
My thing on maintenance again I mean, if you want to come look at my place, you still want more of your damn big trees sitting there that need to be cut up into smaller pieces and burnt. And I've been doing this for quite some time, 2 years, matter of fact.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, do we need to make a motion, or are we gonna do what do you? No comments, or
Well,
what do you do, Mr. Wiggins?
I mean, me personally, I'd like to send this back to our attorney, make a motion that we send this back to our attorney to see about putting something in here for, adequate tree trimming due to the electric lines.
I'll second.
All right, so what the motion is that this will be sent back to our attorney to have him look and recheck for the lines to see if we can have something.
See if he can have a section in here.
Yes,
Well, yeah, for the Encore to take care of the trees that affect the electric lines
For the
that give
maintenance.
electricity to our people.
Okay.
And also, if they don't, then we have a right to terminate this agreement anytime within that 6 or 20-year period. But we'd obviously need to give them maybe 60 days notice or something like that.
all right, well, Mr.
So,
Wiggins made a motion.
so it's kind of a two-part thing,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
I second
Mr.
it.
Prater seconded it. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. All
And,
right.
Just one more thing. This is just a small percent of our town. I mean, this is like not even 0.1. And I get these calls every windstorm. And the language on it is all the same. They've been denied. This is just a small percent of our community. If you give you a big broadband of what's going on out here, they feel like they're left behind.
And we're not putting it on you.
No, I'm
We
not
just said
putting it on you.
encore.
I'm not trying to jump on you.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. Thank you. All right, before we go to the next one, Pam, I wanted to clarify something. Eagles Landings presented us a check, they said for $1,000. It's 1,005.
He said 1,000.
Oh, did he say 1,000? I heard 1,000. So it's my ear that needs cleaning out. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure they had that down on the minutes. Thank y'all again. All right, number 6, police chief report, Sergeant Martinez. 5, we're not doing 5. 5 is, we don't need to do that. That has been done. They found out that we did not have to do an ordinance on that part, so, because they are volunteer fire department and they don't have to have an ordinance for it. Yes, sir.
Hi, everyone. So I'm here to give the report because Chief is not available to give it tonight. So he's tasked me to give it. So what we have here is the police department's report for this month, last month. And as you can see, I think we've been pretty busy, despite what people may or may not say, but we've been pretty busy. I think it looks great. I think we did good. I think we had some good productivity. I think we had some good feedback from the citizens. I didn't hear anything really bad that we haven't been able to not take care of. So, but yeah, everything looks good. Got a total of 420 citations and warnings. We worked 12 crash reports. We've got 9 arrest, offense, and incident reports, and a total of 141 calls for service. So we stay pretty busy, I'd like to think.
Yes, y'all do. Yeah.
Yep.
Does anybody have any question about the reports? I think y'all have it all in your folder, so y'all have any questions? Mr. Wiggins?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Who's our SRO? Who's doing that now?
So right now, we're in the process of getting one hired. I think we're almost done. We've got a little bit more left on his background check to finish and to say yes, but we are having one in the process right now that, a matter of fact.
Who's filling that job currently?
So right now, the daytime officer and chief, we're all kind of taking turns on making sure it's taken care of. We all make random pops throughout the day in the school. We try to make it to at least 4 times to where somebody goes through to the building and says hi with people, say hi to the staff, say hi to people, and make sure that they know that we're there and that we hadn't forgotten about them.
Okay, good,
Thank you.
good.
Doing the
Thank-
best we can with what we have.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
we
Yes,
understand. We
yes.
appreciate you.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all, all of you. Yeah,
Yes,
thank you very
every one of
much.
We certainly appreciate y'all as well, too.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Sarge.
The next one I have also is the code ordinance report. Okay, I'm filling that in place because Walter is not able to make it tonight. So I have the July 20th to August 13th, 2024 C ordinance enforcement report. Looks like they were doing pretty good this month too with all their violations and total cases that they have going on. I can see that they stay busy, and with us assisting them, we're all staying pretty busy, and I don't think we've heard any negative feedback or anything from people unless you guys have heard something that we haven't heard about. We like to take any and all and make the best out of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 7, the community development report, he already done. Number 8, public works director report, and that's going to be done by Johnny.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
All right, I'm gonna start off on this one. It's, on the head of it, it says end of month water loss. So we're gonna start at the plants where the water actually gets produced at. Talbot Well brought in 9.2 million gallons. Blue Bonnet, which is purchased water, that's 17 million gallons, 17,052 million gallons. And Westridge, which is a small well that we just got back online not too long ago, 1.7 million gallons, which brings us up to 28,010 million gallons. Then at the bottom of that page, it also breaks down some of the water loss for that. But I'm gonna go to this other page that shows how much we sold. All right, total sold from that 28 million gallons is 16.746. Total flush is 4,282,000, and our loss of, total loss is 7.6 million gallons. So that brings our total loss to 27.19. Y'all want to hear about the work orders?
It's in our report.
Is it?
If y'all have any questions for Johnny on any of that?
Only thing, Johnny, is I have it, last month, the water loss percentage was 21.95%. So that's a 5.24% increase
Yeah,
from last month
yeah.
on that.
Well,
So,
I wonder if some of that was due to some, because we got a lot of, even in the last meeting, I couldn't make it because we were fixing a water leak at that time. And we're having big line water leaks right now. We just had one the other day over there at Smith Lane and Redbud Circle, which is, I think 12 foot of 6-inch pipe broke, and it just flooded out that whole road. So right now with the ground shifting, I mean, your water loss is going to be somewhat different because the big lines are starting to crack and break along with the smaller ones. But we can only get to them as we find them or it gets called in. So right now, this time of year, when you see the ground drying up and cracking, so is the water lines.
yeah,
So, and then, but I don't have the breakdown of what that actually went to, the difference of, what was that, a difference of 2%? It was like 27 and then 29%.
it's, right now, it's 27.19%. Last month, it was 21.95.
Okay.
So the loss is over 1.4 million gallons more this month than
Okay.
last month.
Okay.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what next month turns out too, because just last week is when we did that 12 foot of 6-inch pipe right in the middle of the road. It's just the lines, they are breaking.
Right.
You know, and then there's a whole bunch of other small leaks that are popping up here and there, and then we're
Right.
also trying to keep up with maintaining the roads and getting Eagle Drive cleaned back up for school coming in.
Oh, I understand. You're busy.
Yeah,
I know that.
it's
I
a
know
busy
that.
time of year.
And it's hot.
Yeah.
And then we get work orders called in every day, and we're trying our best to knock everything out. So we do got some water leaks we need to fix right now, but they're not major.
So that's gonna add to it because we only have currently right now 4 guys working.
Right.
Me, Calvin, Richard, well, that's it, and then temporary, Rudy.
Right.
Keelan's out because he's sick, and then Gene's out because, the leg accident.
Right.
So with everything coming in, we are packed.
Maxed out.
Yeah.
No, I understand. But, you know, the concern is, of course, the water loss, and that means, as you read the report, we're getting most of our water from Blue Bonnet.
Yes, sir.
We're buying that.
Yep.
We pay for that because at Friendly Oaks well is still off, and it's
Still
been
off.
off for a considerable amount of time. So that water loss makes
Yeah.
a huge difference because it costs us more.
Well, if you look at, because I was looking at the Blue Bonnet packet it was this week, and we actually went down on what we paid Blue Bonnet from last month to this month, and it was by $1,000. So what I did was, because I went to the Blue Bonnet meeting last month, I saw how much we were paying to Blue Bonnet, so we're starting to pump more Talbert right now, and it brought it down by 1,000. Now I could do a little bit more, you know, using from Talbert, and also the Westridge well helped out a lot because that's 1.7 million gallons a month that we're not buying from Blue Bonnet. So we can get it down a little bit more as far as what we're paying out, but at the same time, it's, I mean, we still need Friendly Oaks back up though too.
When's the projection to get Friendly Oaks back up?
Sir, I can speak a little bit to that on my city administrator's report.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Kent's got a lot
Yeah.
of that stuff coming
Yes,
down
sir.
the pipe and
Okay.
hopefully
Okay.
close, so.
All right.
Well, Johnny.
Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah,
All right.
thank y'all
Yeah,
very
we
much.
appreciate everything y'all
Yeah,
doing out there.
We do.
Yeah.
Stay
Johnny,
tuned.
I think,
Good. Yes.
Okay, I had a question for John.
We'll just ask you.
Okay. Really quick, I've been driving on the frontage road north, and on several occasions I see trucks pulling up to the fire hydrant that's over there and filling up those trucks. Do we charge for that, or?
Yeah, that is metered water. We had that meter down there at the TV station, and then when we met with the travel center, we moved the meter, because that's for the solar farm or solar plant they're doing off 1239. So now we moved that meter from the TV station to over here, where it's an area where they can't tear up anything with those big trucks.
Okay, so this is over by the underpass,
Yeah, right up here.
right here?
Right there.
Yeah, but
Okay,
they
so
are
we're
paying us.
charging for that?
Yeah, it's metered water.
Okay,
Yes.
great, thanks.
All right.
Thank you, Johnny. Okay, engineers report, do you got anything on that, or do you just want to let them look?
No, ma'am, we
If
did
there's
not
any
receive any
questions?
engineering reports this
Okay.
month.
All right, great.
No,
All
sir.
right, number 10, the city administrator's report. Kent?
Mayor, council, citizens, thank you. It's my pleasure. And Johnny and Jeff, thank y'all both for coming out and stepping in, filling in your supervisor's shoes and running through the gauntlet with us. First and foremost, just wanted to give a quick update on Shady Shores, our Chapter 54 case. Just received word today that property has gone under contract and is currently being finalized to sell. So we should see some resolution on those issues in the near future. Secondly, for those of you who weren't here last week, we did receive approval from the Ag Commissioner himself for a $500,000 grant, community development block grant, to replace water lines in between 3rd and 4th Street. These are aging lines, cast iron and galvanized steel, or just galvanized steel, Johnny?
It's all galvanized, yeah.
Okay. Well, you drive a lawnmower over that thing, and our crews are out there fixing leaks, and we want them fixing other leaks and not this line. So that project will be getting underway over the next few months, so we're excited about that one. Secondly, I provided council in your packets another funding opportunity. This is at the height of some of the requests from the Infrastructure Planning Committee and both the Economic Development Corporation. We were circling around the idea of ordering a comprehensive plan, and also we talked about a capital improvements plan. Did a little bit of research, engaged with our grant administrator who got the community development block grant approved, or was a part of that process. And we've decided that it would probably be a good opportunity to submit for a $300,000 grant through the General Land Office, what they're calling the Resilient Communities Program. And with that, what we would be able to do is order the comprehensive plan, a full comprehensive plan overview, capital improvements plan, economic development plan, studies to further map out our assets for water systems, zoning overview, subdivision ordinance overview, all those could be included in this, and there is no match on our end. So if council's okay with us continuing to move forward with that, we will be beginning the process of the application. We're looking at probably 2 to 3 months, or I'm sorry, 6 months for potential award on that. And it's on a first come, first served basis, but they think we have a really good chance at securing this grant money. And then we're looking at another 18 months past that for all the plans to be finalized. And it'd be a very open, transparent process. They'd be engaging EDC members, members of our community, churches, businesses, council members, and staff as well as they come up with a new plan forward.
Yep. No, you don't need a motion. He won't know if you need a motion. I said, no, we don't need a motion
No
for
motion
that.
on that one. I will be
At all.
bringing an application, and that will require some further
Yeah.
action from you. Okay, on another note, our utility relief fund, thanks to Springfest, has grown to about $900. This is for those who are underserved in our community who need a little extra help. It's a one-time use basis, but we do have applications available for anybody who needs help with their utility bill. Just come chat with me or our utility clerk. You can see the mayor as well, and we can get you set up with that. Microphone upgrades. So the council ordered microphone upgrades here for the courtroom and chambers are going to be taking place next week. So hopefully we'll have a few weeks to work out any kinks before the next council meeting. But excited about getting those up and running. November the 5th election. So we have 3 council member seats up for re-election. We did receive 5 applicants for those. So we will be having an election in November. On Monday at 10 a.m. we will be having a place drawing to determine the order of candidates and how they appear on that ballot. So far we have Councilmember Wiggins, Councilmember McGruer running for re-election. Then we have Mr. Justin Richardson, Mr. Rick Edmondson, and Mr. Colton Smith, who are going to be running for council this time. So I'm sure they would welcome any questions that you might have on their candidacy. Thank you, Officer Martinez, for filling in on the school resource officer. We do have that applicant in a background process right now. Seems like everything's going swimmingly with that. On to the sewer system. So everybody's excited. Worked through several new hoops with USDA over the last month or so, getting all of our T's crossed and our I's dotted. We do have a loan closing date of September the 11th. And immediately after that, we're going to have a pre-construction meeting with all of our contractors to start talking about timelines, start talking about locations and where this work's going to be occurring first. So we hope to get you some more answers at the next council meeting. We also did receive, you'll see that we had the 5 railroad permits. I did request that those be renewed from Union Pacific. No additional cost. They went ahead and extended those for another year. And so we've got all the flagger information sent over to our engineers. So we'll keep an idea or keep a eye on the timelines for that and renew once more. Okay, on to our water system and talking a little bit about Friendly Oaks there. I'll bring up a slide that we have developed. So Friendly Oaks, so good news on that one. Our new variable frequency drive did arrive this morning. That has been offloaded and has been set within the site. Our electrical contractor plans on making it out tomorrow and beginning the swap out installation of this unit. We'll probably be looking at a date in the next week or so to get the vendor for the VFD along with our pump contractor out there so they can all get on the same page and do the programming, make sure everything's tuned in where it needs to be. But we're hoping this well will be back up and running in the next couple weeks, assuming that there aren't any other unknown issues that we have yet to see. Just an update for everybody. This well has been down a total of 16 and a quarter months. That's had a huge impact on our revenues for water, for our expenses, and for how much that we're having to pay out to Bluebonnet. So we're really hoping that this thing gets back online. It's just been a nightmare dealing with all these electrical issues. For example, our last iteration, Friendly Oaks well was only online for 16 days before we had another surging event. We've done everything within our power. We believe so. We've engaged with electrical engineers, with our engineering firm to determine a root cause. We're still just not finding the major issue. other than just dirty power that needs to be cleaned up. And so we just have to keep finding ways to protect ourselves and protect this wellhead. We're hoping this new VFD will do the trick on that one. Okay, so we're moving a little bit further here, and I apologize for the long report this time. On our water system, we are still waiting on a date for Ron Perrin to come out and clean those water tanks. I know Gene's been engaging with them this week. We do have Alliance Electrical was out there working on the elevated tank today, right? That aircraft warning light that was destroyed in the electrical strike. They're working on getting that replaced. Then I'll just go over here to these slides. Our project on 1239, you can see that on the left-hand side, has made significant progress. They've made it all the way to the second bend on 1239. They hit a big patch of rock, but this is that 12-inch water line that's going to help address some of those water delivery issues we've been having out in Falls County. So they're making great progress on that, probably ahead of track. On another note on the water system, I have begun the process of going through a rate analysis with Texas Rural Water Association. I was working with Mr. Smith last week on that, and so we'll continue to engage and try to come up with some numbers. Hate to get to everybody, but from what we're seeing initially, the rates are not currently where they need to be. They will likely need to go up. Addition to that, Bluebonnet, of course, is going to be passing along about a 50-cent increase per 1,000 gallon in the next year or so. So as much as we'd all love for these rates to continue to remain the same, inflationary pressures just continue to hit all of us, and so we'll probably have to be passing that along to our customers to stay solvent. On the water loss note, we have engaged with Water Company of America. They've been out in the field. They have determined about a total of revenue loss of $266.28 per month. We've been working through, or Johnny and his crew have been working through corrections to that to try to mitigate some of these paper water losses that we've had and also adjust for some additional revenue there. And with that, I think I've finished pretty much everything. Oh, on CEFCO. So CEFCO is working to get back with me. Of course, they sold out to Casey's convenience store. They are still on track to move forward with this project. However, it's been put on hold. I think they're talking about branding with the new Casey's logos and everything on this site. So working to get a timeline for you as to when that construction might start. And with that, I'll entertain any questions that you might have.
Does anybody have any questions for his report? Administrator's report? Okay, all right, moving right along. Oh, yes, sir.
I'm Rick Edmiston. I want to say thanks to the police department for sitting out on 107 running radar lately. Thank you very much. But because if y'all know how it is out there, the people fly into town coming from Moody, and so thank you for being there and help slow them down. And to the water department guys, I want to say thanks to them because it ain't no fun out there right now. So
That heat.
we bless them in Jesus' name.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you, Rick. Okay, number 11, the consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda will be considered by the city council and will be enacted on by one motion. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless a council member or a member of the public so request. A, approval of the minutes. B, financial for July of 2024. C, date of upcoming council meetings. And that's it. Okay. Does anybody want to pull anything out or talk on that or anything? If not, do we have a motion?
I'm make a motion that to approve all the consent agenda items.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, number 12, appointment of the BEEDC director. Council discuss, consider, and probably take action to appoint or a reappoint director to seat 2, seat 4, and seat 6 of the Bruceville-Eddy Economic Development Corporation for terms expired September the 30th of 2024.
Mayor? Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. So we do have reappointments that are coming up. Right now, I have been informed that Mr. Colton Smith and member or director Anthony Duty have requested to be reappointed to this board at the end of their term. For myself, so I would like to request to resign from this. I think I've just got too much work going on
Yes,
with
sir.
everything y'all been
I
giving
can
me to do.
understand
No, in all seriousness, I've enjoyed serving, but I think it's time for me to move to what my job really should be is more of an administrative role here. And it gives another opportunity for council to appoint, you know, a member of your own or another member of the community to help guide the policy of the board. So I won't be going anywhere. I'll just be helping with the administrative side of things on this one. So I would like to suggest that we do advertise using the EDC recommended application, that we could put this out to the community, take applications, bring those back to council for further consideration at another meeting. So just as a reminder on the qualifications, the EDC is governed by 7 board directors, three of which must not be officers, employees, or members of the governing body of the city. Qualifications must be a resident of the city, resident of the county in which the majority of the city is located, reside within 10 miles of the city limits, or reside in a county bordering the county in which the majority of the area of the municipality is located. That's a mouthful, right? So it's pretty broad in membership, but centrally focuses around the general Bruceville-Eddy area. Spouses can serve together, and spouses of city council members can also serve. So my recommendation there is to approve the reappointments and accept my resignation effective 9/30.
Okay. We have a motion? Okay, Mr. McGurr?
I'll move that we accept the reappointments and the resignation of Ken Manton from the
All right. Do I have a second?
EDC.
Was we gonna send out a letter, seeing if some other people was wanting
Well,
to join in?
I don't have a second yet.
Oh, I was just having a discussion.
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
discuss it
never mind.
after second. I'm waiting. I haven't answered him. Do I have a second?
Mr. Griffin.
Oh, Mr. Griffin. Mr. Griffin made a second. Okay, now we can do a discussion. If you want to
Wasn't we
discuss.
gonna send out a letter, see if anybody else wanted to?
Yes, sir.
Be on
Yes,
it?
if council's okay with it, I'll send out a letter. I'll blast it out on Savvy Citizen, and anybody who's interested can fill out that application. I'll collect them all up and bring them to council in the future for that vacant position that I would create.
Oh, just for the vacant, not for everybody that's running?
I
or-
mean, that's up to council if y'all want to reappoint those other 2 members, but it's just.
If they don't want to appoint those other 2 minutes that want to be in it, back in it, they'll have 3 people, or you can just find one.
That's the
One to
motion
back
we
in.
just had, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Reappoint them,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Yeah, y'all made a motion to reappoint.
oh,
them.
okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we
So
just,
we had a motion and a second, and now we have discussion.
now we're having a
Okay,
discussion.
right. So I'd like to, Mr. Foster, Mike Foster, is sitting right there in the front row. He lives here in the city of Bruceville-Eddy, and he's done some work for the city of Bruceville-Eddy. And he is interested in it, and I'd like to see him on there. I think maybe if we're gonna put out, applications out again, I think we just need to do it for everybody and for all 3 positions.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, we have a motion, and we have a motion on the floor, and we have a second, and I'll take a vote to see. All in favor of keeping the 2 that's already there and replacing our city administrator with another one, all in favor? 1, 2, okay. 2 to, and all opposed? Okay, 2 to 3, okay. We'll redo it. Okay, we'll make a now we can make another motion, right? And not it, to put all 3 people up, okay? All right, so, council discuss and consider and possibly take action to approve, seats to appoint new people, or, how would you put that? Rerun for seats 2, 3, and 4, 2, 4, and 6? Open for election for seats number 2, 4, and 6 of the Bruceville-Eddy Economic Development Corporation for terms expiring September the 30th.
Yeah. I make a motion that we allow, oh gosh, how do you put it? Applications
3 seats.
for 3 seats for the EDC seats 2, 4, and 6 to be received from the community for, how would you put it?
Expires in
For
September 30th.
the expired seats to be filled.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
On a point on that, would we need to put in, the mayor and, Kent, shouldn't we put a time limit on this? That
It's gotta be
the
done soon.
applications need to come back to the city, be
ASAP.
received within the city by a certain day or time limit? Kent?
That might be a good idea.
Say like
Otherwise, I can
September
just
the
run.
15th or something, have him
Say
sit in.
September the 15th. And then
Okay.
also, if you wanted to include my resignation on there. accept it.
Yes.
And accept the
Yes,
resignation.
accept the resignation of Kent Manton,
Okay,
and that the applications would have to be returned by September 15th for review
okay. All right.
and
So,
consideration.
all right. So we made a motion to approve applications being sent out for seats 2, 4, and 6, and for the Economic Development Corporation to be in before around no later than September the 15th of 2024, and accepting the resignation of Kent Manton. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Wiggins. All in favor? Okay, 3, and all opposed? 2, 3 to 2, accepted. Congratulations. All right. 13, nominees of candidates to the McLennan Central Appraisal District Board of Directors. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action of Resolution R8-22-2024-1, nominating candidates to the McLennan Central Appraisal District Board of Directors.
Mayor, thank you so much. Yes, so it's that time of the year again. Our city is being asked to nominate 5 eligible candidates to MCAD. So an election will follow. This is just the nomination portion of that. The ballots will be finalized and be sent out to all the member cities. 3 members, just as a point of information here, the 3 members are now elected from amongst the voters that make up this board. So you've got a total of 9 members now. And just so you can see the current makeup here, we've got the chair, secretary, and then the following members representing some of those, heavier tax levied cities, and then the 3 that are elected from amongst, and then Randy Riggs, the tax assessor, serves as ex officio member there. So, any questions? Otherwise, I will let you make some nominations.
Okay. Do we have any nominations that y'all would like, that y'all see up there, or on your paperwork?
Kent, did you have any recommendations? I don't usually you recommend something here.
Oh, no, sir. On the appointments,
Yeah.
I don't typically make recommendations on those.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see anything about none of those.
Members there. Council does not have to make any nominations. You can just wait to see what the ballots look like when the
they
election
come in,
comes to.
yeah. Yeah, you don't have to make a
Of course,
nomination.
we only have 4 votes.
Right. So we can wait until the actual, they send us
They'll
the
shrink it down, yeah. and
Yeah.
yeah.
election and then we make our choice then.
That's
Yes, sir.
correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, so nothing taken at this time. Okay, all right. It is now 7 p.m. and this regular council meeting is closed. And it is now 7 p.m. and our public hearing is now open. Public hearing, sewer rate, council to hear public comments on the USDA. Oh, okay. Approval sewer rate structure along with its corresponding ordinance. Okay? Now, this is open to the public. We can't answer your questions and we can listen to you. If you have anything you want to say about this. Okay. All right. It is 7:01 and this public hearing is now closed. It is 7:01 and our regular council meeting is now open. And we are going to the sewer rate ordinance. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on ordinance O8-22-2024-1, establishing the USDA approval sewer rate structural, second reading. Now we can take questions and talk about it. Kent, you have something you want to say on that?
Mayor, I do not, unless there are any other questions. I think we've hashed a lot of this out.
We did
These are
last
approved
time.
by USDA.
Yes. All right, anybody have any questions? Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the ordinance 08-22-2024-1, establishing the USDA-approved sewer rate structure, second reading.
Okay. All right. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Wiggins? Okay, all in favor? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, unanimous. Okay. It was 16, so number 17. 7:02, and our regular council meeting is now closed. 7:02, and a public hearing for the Texas Municipal Retirement System Plan change. Council to hear public comments on proposed changes to the city retirement system plan. Changes include the adoption of a 100% updated service credit with transfer and a 30% non-radioactive cost of living adjustment increase in annuities, both annually, repeatingly, both to become effectively January the 1st of 2025. Whew, it's a tongue twister.
It is. The ordinance isn't much better on that one.
All right. Do we have anybody who wants to discuss it?
If not, Mayor, I can go into a few comments on
All
this one
right,
here.
go ahead.
So this was a request from a council member. We talked a little bit about it a little bit earlier in the year. It went to the budget committee. We were able to fund this change. So just some basics over our current plan. We are a 7% employee contribution city. We do, the employer does match that at 1.5 ratio. Retirement eligibility is 20 years of service at any age or 5 years of service at the age of 65. We have adopted the updated service credit. So what we're talking about here tonight is a COLA for our current and future retirees. So this is an optional benefit that council could choose to go with. It helps protect them against inflationary pressures. So if approved, this COLA would go into effect on January the 1st of 2025. To date, the city of Bruceville-Eddy has never offered a COLA for any of our retirees. So the annuity that they retired with, that benefit has stayed the same no matter when they've retired. So overview of this plan, how would this work? So the annual repeating COLA was an option given to cities about 2 years ago through the Texas legislature. And it allowed us the ability to give a COLA based off of the previous 12 to 13 months of the change in the consumer price index. Previously, the COLAs always went back retroactive. And so if a city adopted a COLA, you're looking at many years of CPI that you would end up having to pay out to the retirees, which as much as you might want to give them that, it could be very cost prohibitive to a city. So this one here would just go back into a window of time, 12 months prior to the January 1st. And it'll do that every year until council changes that otherwise. So this is 30% of the CPI during that 12-month period. So they're not getting a 30% COLA, but if the CPI was, for example, 3% that period, you would get 30% of whatever that 3% is. So for example, if you have a $2,000 benefit each month, then you're looking at a $60 increase per month, and the 30% of that would be $18. So what the retiree would receive is that $18 additional per month. So again, this is non-retroactive, it is repeating, and it would start on January the 1st. As far as our funding ratio, right now our plan is currently well funded at 104%. With these plan changes, it would drop slightly to 98.7%, and we're looking at a 1.3% increase to our funding amount here at the city, which we have budgeted for next fiscal year. And with that, my recommendation is to approve, or Budget Committee's recommendation is to approve, and I'll answer any questions you may have.
It is now 7:06, and this public hearing is now closed. It is 7:06, and we have another public hearing. Nope, number 18? Closed.
19.
Okay. 7:06, we're closing our public hearing. And 7:06, and our regular council session is now open. Okay. Texas Municipal Retirement System Plan change. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on ordinance 08-22-2024-5, adopting a change for the city's retirement system plan. Change includes the adoption of 100% updated service credit with transfer and a 30% non-radioactive cost of living adjustment, increasing the annuity, both annually repeating, both to income effective January the 1st of 2025. All right. Yes, Mr. Wiggins.
Okay, I move to approve ordinance 08-22-2024-5 about the Texas Municipal Retirement System plan change.
I'll second.
Mr. Prater, second that. All right, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, number 20, junk trailer ordinance. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on ordinance 08-22-2024-2, adopting general amendments to the offense and nuisance article of the City of Bruceville-Eddy Code of Ordinance, provided for the regulation of junk vehicles and junk trailers. Okay.
Mayor, thank you once more. So this was a council member requested ordinance. This ordinance is to address dilapidated and inoperable trailers and has been brought before you for your consideration. So right now, our current ordinance already addresses self-propelled motor vehicles. However, it does not address anything that that has a hitch and could be connected to that. So this would make that correction. So adding this provision would allow for the enforcement of vehicles that do rely on a motor vehicle for movement. It would allow the code enforcement officer to begin addressing broken down trailers that have been sitting idle or have lost functionality. This would take place after passage and required publication within the newspaper of record. So some of the changes that would be made here in section 8.04.001, it would add an exception for junked vehicles, for any of those junk vehicles that are stored at a mechanic shop. We don't have that provision in there currently. And then in the next section there, it would remove the applicability statement allowing for a broader enforcement of those junk vehicles. And then in the last part there, it would add the definition of a junk trailer. So my recommendation on this one is approve, and I will let you discuss.
Do you have any discussions?
Yes.
Mr. Prater.
Yeah, I was reading on the junk trailers. It's saying that if your trailer, from what I'm getting from it is, if your trailer doesn't move for 30 days, that you can be cited for it. A lot of people's trailers sit longer than 30 days. I don't always use my trailers, and they'll sit. So if he drives by my house and sees, or maybe I went out that night and I come back and I park it in the same spot, then he thinks it hasn't been used. That it needs to have a little broader definition of this, because there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be getting citations that really don't deserve it.
Also, has this been passed by our attorney yet? Have we discussed this over with our attorneys about how this should be worded or anything? Or is this just, I'm not happy with the way it's worded myself, because I'm for the citizens, and there is a lot of trailers out there that people, they don't move them unless they have some work to do, and, they keep them, they look good, but if it has a hitch on it, it can be moved. Okay, if it's an old trailer house and if it has a hitch on it, that can still be moved. So who's to say, I just think it needs to go by our attorney and maybe get it reworded a little bit better.
So the city attorneys did send us several examples, model ordinances that we used to, or that I used to create the definition of the junked trailer. But no, they have not reviewed the ordinance that's brought before you tonight on that one. However, I will just say for the 30 days and to address that one, the way it's worded, it has to be inoperable. So we have to see something that's broken. We have to see something like a tire or something that's been flat for 30 days. It's not just it hasn't moved for 30 days. It'd be my interpretation.
You know, I actually flatten my tire so nobody steals it. If you go in my backyard, everything that has a tire on it, one of them's
One
flat.
is flat,
Yeah.
I do the same thing in my
Yeah,
pasture.
yeah.
So nobody can take my trailer.
Just saying, it's you're gonna get more flack out of this from the citizens than what you think you're gonna get, because, I mean, some people don't use their trailer all year.
Yeah, that's true. Ms. McGruer?
So just for clarification, this would go through the same processes like high grass or anything like that with our code enforcement officer. So he would send a letter first asking, you know, basically, we've noticed your vehicle has been there for 30 days. Is it junked? You have an opportunity to respond to that, such in Mr. Prater's case, to say, no, it actually is operable. If you need proof, I can show that. And then that case would then be closed, correct? And then if they can't prove that, then it would go to that next second warning stage and then a citation stage.
That's correct.
I'm just afraid there's gonna be a lot of people get very upset.
How much do them letters cost when we send them out? I know postage.
Postage is 67 cents.
69
And
cents.
an envelope, time to prepare it. It's just, I don't like it. It needs to be worded a little different or something.
John, did you have a question?
Would it be, if the trailer's registered?
Well, mine are all registered, but they don't get moved.
Whether you use it or not, I've got 4 trailers, and a couple of them been parked for a year.
Yeah. I have a horse trailer right now that's been sitting out there for, I think Mr. Martinez helped me with a bull one time. The last time my horse trailer was used, and I register it every year, but it hasn't been moved in, what, 3, nearly 4 years? And it sits out there, but it hasn't been moved. So, yes, ma'am.
But I think the key in that ordinance is not really whether or not it's been moved, but whether or not it's operable. So if your trailer is still operable, then it's no cause for concern. It's the ones that are dilapidated that are sitting there for more than 30 days that haven't been moved, that are unsightly in the city.
Okay.
So there's a big difference there
So if-
between operable and not operable.
All right, so what they're saying here is, what she's talking about is if it's operable, so if somebody, say I have a trailer sitting out somewhere, or I see my neighbor over here with a trailer, and he hasn't moved it for a while, if I go over there and say, hey, can that be moved, and he can move it, then he doesn't get a citation. But is that how it's worded?
Yeah.
Is that how it's worded? That's the reason I think we need to pass it by and let it be reworded correctly.
Well,
Okay, we have citizens out here. You and then you.
The perception what the public's going to hear in this is really bad, right?
Exactly.
So it seems like targeting.
It is
I
hard.
don't know who we're targeting. I don't have a dog in the hunt, right? But it really feels like targeting. Exactly. As a citizen listening to what I'm hearing. Are we talking about, like, some of us are farmers and ranchers? How often do I use my hay trailer? Once a year? Twice a year, maybe? Right? I don't know what trailers we're after. Are we after dilapidated mobile homes or those trailers? I think that needs to be specified. Are we after trailers that don't have, I'm just saying, the public is gonna read this in not a very positive light. So I agree with Ms. Mayor, that needs to be reworded.
Yes, it does. Okay, you, sir. You need a mic, sir? I know you can talk
We
loud.
saw a picture here with junk on a trailer. So what is the concern here? Is it having the trailer or having the junk on the trailer?
This ordinance mechanism would address broken down trailers that are sitting there for a long period of time and becoming unsightly.
Okay, so.
With or without stuff?
If I live in town here and I've got a trailer in my yard, in my driveway, right? We're talking about in the driveway or just anywhere on the property?
Anywhere on private property longer than 30 days.
I've got it on my property, it's my property. Unless I'm stacking trash on it, whose business is it anyway? That's true. Of a trailer, guys, we live in America, we're not a third world country, we're told what to do.
Yeah.
If they have a trailer, it's their property. If you're talking about, the whole trailer thing kind of is confusing to me, because when you say junk trailer, I'm thinking, okay, so what you're really wanting to do is make sure there's not a bunch of junk piled on a trailer, and it looks like an eyesore that way. But if you don't like what the guy's trailer looks like sitting there, but it's clean, it's not piled trash on it, is it any of our business? I drive an old truck. Is somebody gonna say one day, oh, if it's over 10 years old, you can't have that truck in your yard?
That's
If
dumb.
it's my truck and I'm driving it, it really doesn't, sounds rude, but it's nobody's business. So, my thing would be, if you wanna have an ordinance that says you can't be piling trash on a trailer or anywhere on your property, which I suspect we already have this ordinance, then make that ordinance. But when you start talking about somebody's motor vehicle, that's a little different deal. Motor vehicle, a trailer, I got tons of trailers I don't ever use. Some of them I use, some of them I don't. If I live in the middle of town, basically you're saying, if I don't move those every 30 days, you're gonna give me a citation.
So,
You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I'm just trying to, what's at the heart of this deal here?
yeah.
Are we trying to make sure
Somebody
it's not
have a-
junk piled up?
they wanna talk
Or
about
we're
it?
talking about what these people own and they can't have it here?
Okay, let's let Joyce
It,
speak.
it's not about, it's about trailers that are inoperable, that they're not functioning, they have parts that are missing, they're junked. It's just like if you had a car that was junked and it became a nuisance in the neighborhood. It was a place for vermin to come, for feral cats to live in, and all that kind of thing. It's not talking, this ordinance is not talking about someone, I have a trailer. My husband has a trailer, and we park it in our driveway back by our house, and he uses it maybe once or twice a year to haul limbs and stuff off. It's operable. It's got tags on it, the tires are good, and we use it when we need it. It's not talking about those trailers. It's talking about trailers that are junked and they're a nuisance in the community, just like a junked car would be if somebody had a bunch of junked cars where possums and raccoons and things and mice and all of that were getting in it. That's what this is about. It's so that we can deal with those types of trailers.
Well, my comment for rebuttal is that who's deciding what junk is and what junk isn't? Because
Well, if
I
it's
know what I know for a
inoperable,
reason, and you deciding whether I can own something or don't own something, that's gonna rub me wrong. I'm just pointing this out here. This doesn't affect me, you know it doesn't.
Yeah.
Where I'm at, I can do whatever I want. But I'm just saying, if we talk about a fund to help people pay their utility bills, because whether anybody here likes to admit it or not, we're like in one of the poorest areas in McLennan County. And now we're trying to impose some things on people. Maybe a better way to do that is go and say, look, you can't have a bunch of cars piled on that trailer there. But if I got a trailer, the bearings out on it, I don't have the money to replace the axle and all that stuff, and I'm gonna leave that in my driveway or in my yard, and I've got the wheel off. Mice get into a car that's running. I've had cats get into my truck when it's running, and, so I'm just saying, from the perspective of a citizen, this probably needs to be looked at a little bit, maybe reworded or something, because,
I hear you.
Mr. Prater?
I have a barbecue pit in my backyard. You can see it from the road. I built it. Its name is Frankenstein. And if everybody's ever seen it at Mayfest and all that, it is a Frankenstein. It's ugly as sin. And I built it that way. I built it on purpose. It's the best barbecue pit you'll ever have. But now somebody's gonna come tell me because it's ugly and it looks like it's rusted. And I built it that way. I didn't paint it that way. I made it that way. And now somebody's gonna come tell me that I can't have that in my backyard to cook a meal or cook something then that's wrong. And it's wrong. And it's not signed. This language in this is not right. We can't tell people what to do like that. We got people on construction that go out there and they load concrete and stuff, and the rails are bent on their trailer, and you're trying to tell somebody that that's inoperable. Who makes that decision? If the rails are bent over and this guy hauls concrete and all that, are we going to go in there and tell him that, hey, that looks unoperable, so we're going to fine you for that? Yeah. That it's still operable. You can still use it. It just looks like crap. No, we're not the looks police.
Mr. Wiggins and Mr. McGruer, y'all had a question?
Okay, yes. I think the main thing here, I think it's kind of taken out of context maybe. And I think the main thing is it says inoperable. So if you have a trailer, let's say, and they don't even have no axles on it. Something happened to them. You took the axles off because you wanted them for a barbecue pit. So that trailer's inoperable, right? Can't be used. Don't have no axles. And it's all tore up. That's what we're talking about. Inoperable is inoperable. That's what it is. So, you know, and if it's been there 30 days, and it says inoperable and had remained inoperable for more than 72 consecutive hours or 30 consecutive days if it's on private property. But that's the key word, is inoperable to me. So, I mean, as long as that trailer, you can pull it down the road. I don't care what it looks like. Doesn't matter what it looks like.
Right.
It's operable. But if you can't, then it's inoperable. And now, if we need maybe we need to have our legal department define what, you know, inoperable is, well, maybe we need to do that. Maybe that would help here if we had our legal department define what's inoperable.
So,
I mean, it's, you know, it's just a fact that it's like if you live here, then maybe in town, well, maybe, and if we said, well, you know, we're going to allow your grass to get 3 feet tall, and we're going to let you have all the junk vehicles you want and all the operable trailers that you want, then, you know, then that might be a different story that people might not like, you know. But when we have something that says about inoperable trailers, or we do have things about, I believe, do we not, about junk vehicles?
yes.
Yeah, and you got to have a fence around it, so, you know, I mean, I think that's the problem here. I think what I'm seeing and hearing is about the word inoperable. So maybe we need to have our attorney define that, and maybe that'll make things better. I don't know. Thank you.
Okay, I think one of the issues is, like with the trailer or a vehicle or anything like this, is it registered? If it's registered, then it's going to meet safety standards, so therefore it can get a registration on it. Okay. The other thing is, when it says wrecked, dismantled, partially dismantled, or discarded, okay, I've seen it out here where, excuse me, on Old Moody Road, over by Kennedy, there's 2 vehicles stacked, actually there's 3 vehicles now, stacked in a corner of this guy's property. Okay, I can tell you those are not operable vehicles. One of them doesn't even have a front end on it. Okay, so if he's registering it, it's certainly not an operable vehicle. If he stacks these on his property, eventually the city's the one that's suffering here, because you're going to bring in an eyesore into the community, and we're going to end up looking like the next town over is junkyard. Okay, so we're trying to put some kind of appearance on the city that we're not. this broke down city where people dump their junk, okay? And so, are they gonna go around and cite everybody on their, because they got a trailer, or like Richard's got a barbecue, which to my estimation isn't a vehicle, but anyway.
No, it's a trailer.
It has a hitch on it.
It has a hitch on it?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
trailer.
So.
But it's operable.
It's operable. He can
No, I
pull
got
it
a
out.
flat tire on it.
Huh?
I got a flat tire on it, so nobody steals it.
Well, but you've got an excuse for that flat tire.
Okay.
You can air up that tire, and it is operable.
Okay.
So,
Okay. No, well, Mrs. Wiggins had one first. I'm sorry.
Was you through? It might not have been.
I know, but
I'm
I'm
through.
just trying to
I'm
keep
through.
them from coming to the mic, sir.
I had a small
I knew
soapbox.
this was a sore. I knew it was gonna
I understand the council's opinions, but, you know, I kind of agree with, I'm not sure what his name is. Anyway, about telling somebody, you know, what you can and cannot have. If that trailer is been wrecked, let's say it's been wrecked, and somebody wants to take it and junk it out or something, but they haven't had time, or they don't have the money to get somebody to come and move it or whatever, are you gonna penalize people for that? I mean, you know, yeah, it would be inoperable if it doesn't have an axle on it or something, but maybe they don't have the money right now to go buy a new axle to fix it. So, I mean, I think we need to think, you know,
Think it through. Yes,
common
ma'am.
sense about that.
Okay, Mr. Prater and
I
then
think-
Miss Slade. Okay,
I
go ahead and
think
let,
she was up
go
first.
ahead and let
Go.
you, honey. No, you. No, you.
All right, guys, I gotta go against some of you that I love, but I'm agree with CW and Richard. I think in our country, on principle, we've given up so much of our freedom, bit by bit by bit by bit, for little things like this. And then we wake up one day and wonder how we got ourselves in this mess. I think that the city of Bruceville-Eddy has a lot bigger problems than junk trailers. I drive down the same streets every day and I see trash all over people's yards and trash cans dumped over and grass 10 feet tall. I think it would be a better thing to focus on is to get some of those areas cleaned up. I don't think that junk trailers is that much of a problem. I'm married to the kind of guy that has trailers and has this and has that and has stuff here and there. Luckily, most of my property can't be seen from the road, and I'm very thankful for that. But, you know, my husband's, he's had times where the axle was out on his trailer and he took it apart and he couldn't find the right part and he had to run to this place or that place or the other place. It's his, he owns it, he buys tags for it, it's registered. I don't think that it's right for the city to come and tell him he can't have it. I know that there are a lot of junky areas in the town, and I appreciate the council not wanting our town to look like Chilton. I mean, let's be real. We don't want it to look like Chilton. But I think that there's other issues that are continuous that never seem to get resolved because I drive past them every day. The junk trailers or cars that you're talking about, that's got to be the county. That's the only thing I.
It is county.
It is
And it's
county.
an eyesore. That whole place is just, you drive by and scratch your head wondering what's going on with it. Anyway, so I have to vote with, I think that it's overkill or an overreach.
Yeah.
And I also don't know the person that's driving by how they're going to determine if something is junk. It could have a flat tire, that doesn't mean it's junk. And I just, that's my opinion.
Okay,
So-
Mr. Prater, one more. We're gonna take a couple more questions on this and then we're gonna move on because I think we've heard both sides.
How are we gonna enforce this? Because say this guy, say our code enforcement officer drives around, he sees a trailer, and he's thinking to himself, that looks inoperable. And he's gonna send him a letter. And he says, hey, you need to prove that this is inoperable. And he says, no. What are we gonna do? We're gonna hire our lawyers to go after this guy?
Then you're out
Because
more
he don't wanna prove that his trailer that's sitting there that probably might be it could be inoperable. How are we gonna make this guy get off his recliner in the middle of the heat to come out and show you that his trailer can drive down the road? We gonna follow him down the road, make sure it don't weave? And as for looking at a trailer to tell if it's inoperable, we have a trailer out at my dad's farm. It's a tandem axle trailer. One of the axles burned up. We took it off. We chained up the front. Still an operable trailer. But if you look at it, it's got no tires on the front axle because it costs more money to change it to just a single axle. That's what I'm saying, is just because it looks like it's inoperable, and it's supposed to have two, but it only has one axle, but it still works. So we're gonna find this guy and make him go put another axle up underneath it that he don't need.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. And there's a lot of things out there that we don't appreciate, that we don't like that our neighbors have, but that's my neighbor's property. That's not my property. As long as I take care of my land, I'm happy. And as they say, one man's treasure is another man's junk, or another man's junk is another man's treasure. You know, you just don't know. I mean, you know, and it's a lot easier to fix one up than it is to get out there and try to buy a brand new one, you know, a lot of times, because we're not a rich town. We're really not, you know, and that's just my personal opinion. As I said, you can take $1 with my personal opinion, you just can't get a cup of coffee down at the restaurant. So, you know, that's just mine. And
John had his hand up
okay,
for a
John.
while now. Yeah.
John, yes, sir.
All right, I've got a boat trailer that sits back in my property right by my fence. I mow everything, keep everything clean. My boat trailer ain't moved in 2 years. It's not registered, mainly because I work my butt off and I haven't had time to go fishing.
That's right.
Is that what they're going, you know?
Yep.
When you're talking about it,
Operable, that would be inoperable.
yes, you know, I have a boat trailer that if I had the time, I would take it out and register it and then go back to fishing like I used to.
Okay, I
But
understand.
because of the way the economy is, I gotta work, I don't have time to go fishing. But if somebody says, well, it hadn't moved, oh hell, here we go, we stir up that type of stuff. And then I've got a welding trailer with my welder on it, and I keep it parked in my barn. Are people gonna go looking around and see what's in the barn?
I hope not. They
No.
better not. They get shot.
No.
But what I'm going to do. This is. I think we've discussed this. We've kind of heard both sides. Just one moment. Let me finish. I think that we need to redo this. You know, because as Mr. Prater always says, he listens to the citizens, and 90% of y'all out there says they don't want this. So I think it needs to go before our attorney. And I think it needs to be either reworded and maybe brought back some other time on a different thing, because a lot of those junk trailers that are out there that have things on them, they are registered with the city. They can be moved, so they shouldn't get citations for it if they can be moved according to this. But I think it needs to be reviewed by our attorneys, and I think it needs to be reworded and brought back to another day. Mr. Wiggins?
Okay, I've heard the people out here, and I'll go with what they say.
Amen.
Because that's what matters. So I'll make a motion that we deny ordinance 822-2024-2.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay. Thank you. All right. Moving right along. 21. All right. It is now 7:35, and the regular session is closed while we go into executive session. And it's the executive session is the city council shall meet in executive session to discuss the following: city administrator's annual performance review, and I guess that's it. No, and consulted with the city attorney regarding pending litigations. And for the city attorney to receive legal advice regarding pending litigations at 130 Crescent Creek, Bruceville, Texas 76630, Texas Government Code, and 551.071. All right, we're going to adjourn. We will be back. we're missing one. He'll be here in just a second. And the only reason we're waiting on him, he's the one that's gonna be
As
talking.
soon as she reconvenes, say, I move we adjourn.
Yeah, I told him, turn your mics on, please. All right. It is now 8:24, and the executives, we are back from our executive session, and our city council meeting has started back up. And so for B, it says, see, consulting with the city attorney, we've already done that. Reconvene into open session. Okay, and C, possible action of issue discussed in executive session.
We have none.
Take it over.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Whoever's gonna talk.
He made a motion to adjourn.
No motion required.
No
No
motion.
motion
No mo-
required.
Yeah.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
I'll
there we
second.
go. It is now 8:25, and this city council is now adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
One of these days, I'm gonna say
Joyce
no.
and Prater closed it.
I am too.
I'd like to tell Keith we're extremely glad he came back out the door. I'm glad you survived the meeting here. I think you guys did a great job, but you still got a job.
He ain't going nowhere.